The world has watched in horror as terror has struck Western nations. From New York City to Paris, the impact of these attacks has left deep scars. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the tragedies, to want to turn away. But it's precisely in these moments that we must remember. These attacks, each unique in its horror, share a common thread, reminding us of our vulnerability. By understanding the past and honoring the lives lost, we equip ourselves to face the future with greater awareness and resilience. The impact of September 11th, 2001 is difficult to overstate. It was a day that forever altered the course of history, a day that left an indelible mark on the collective consciousness of the world. The images of the Twin Towers collapsing and the Pentagon burning are seared into our memory. These scenes of destruction and chaos were broadcast live, capturing the horror and disbelief of millions around the globe. Nearly 3,000 innocent souls perished that day. Each name etched into the memorials represents a life cut short, a family forever changed, and a community left to mourn. The world watched in disbelief as the unimaginable became real. News anchors struggled to find words, and people everywhere were glued to their screens, trying to make sense of the unfolding tragedy. The attacks, orchestrated by Al-Qaeda, aimed to instill fear and shake our foundations. The meticulous planning and execution of such a heinous act revealed the dark capabilities of those driven by hatred. In the immediate aftermath, they succeeded. The streets of New York were filled with dust and debris, and the air was thick with uncertainty and fear. Emergency personnel worked tirelessly to save lives and restore order. Borders tightened, security measures increased, and the world braced for what would come next. Airports implemented stringent security protocols, and nations around the globe re-evaluated their safety measures. But from the ashes, we witnessed extraordinary resilience. Communities came together, united in their grief and determination to rebuild. The American spirit, though tested, proved unbreakable. First responders and ordinary citizens became heroes, their courage a beacon amidst the devastation. Firefighters, police officers, and volunteers worked hand in hand, demonstrating the power of unity and the strength of the human spirit in the face of adversity. November 13th, 2015 will forever be etched in Paris's memory. Coordinated attacks by ISIS targeted cafes, restaurants, a football stadium, and the Bataclan concert hall. The Bataclan became a bloodbath, with 89 people killed. The streets of Paris fell silent, replaced by sirens and anguished cries. The attacks sent shockwaves through France and the world, yet even in the face of such barbarity, the spirit of Paris endured. The City of Lights would not be plunged into darkness. The morning commute on July 7, 2005 was shattered in London. What began as an ordinary day quickly turned into a nightmare that would leave an indelible mark on the city and its people. Coordinated suicide bombings targeted underground trains and a double-decker bus. The attacks were meticulously planned to cause maximum devastation and fear. 52 innocent people lost their lives and over 700 were injured. The victims were from all walks of life, reflecting the diversity of London itself. The bombings exposed the vulnerability of everyday life. Streets that were once bustling with activity became eerily silent as the city grappled with the enormity of the tragedy. Images of mangled train carriages and the bus became symbols of the attack's brutality. These haunting visuals were broadcast around the world, serving as a grim reminder of the horrors of terrorism. London, renowned for its stoicism and diversity, was reeling. The city, known for its resilience, faced one of its darkest hours, but its spirit remained unbroken. But amidst the grief, the spirit of Londoners shone through. Vigils were held, candles were lit, and people from all backgrounds came together in solidarity. Ordinary people demonstrated extraordinary courage, helping the wounded and comforting the terrified. Stories of heroism emerged, showcasing the best of humanity in the face of such evil. The 7/7 attacks reminded us that terrorism could strike anywhere, at any time. It was a stark wake-up call that no place is immune to such acts of violence. It targeted the very fabric of our societies. Yet in the aftermath, the resilience and unity of Londoners became a beacon of hope, showing that even in the darkest times, the human spirit can prevail. On March 22, 2016, Brussels Airport was transformed into chaos. Two suicide bombers detonated explosives near check-in counters. Another bomb ripped through a metro train at Maelbeek Station. The coordinated attacks claimed 32 lives and injured hundreds. Belgium, known for its role as the EU headquarters, found itself on the front lines of the fight against terrorism. On July 22, 2011, Norway experienced a national tragedy that would forever change the nation. A devastating car bomb exploded in the heart of Oslo, killing 8 people and injuring dozens more. The blast shattered windows and sent shockwaves through the city, leaving a scene of chaos and destruction. The perpetrator, Anders Behring Breivik, a right-wing extremist with a deep-seated hatred for multiculturalism, was not finished. After the bombing, he set his sights on Utøya Island, where a youth camp was being held. Disguised as a police officer, Breivik gained the trust of the young campers before unleashing a brutal attack. He massacred 69 people, most of them teenagers, in a senseless act of violence. The attack lasted over an hour, a horrific ordeal for the young campers who tried to flee or hide from the gunman. Emergency responders rushed to the scene, but the damage had already been done. The Utøya Island massacre was a stark reminder that terrorism can come from within a nation's own borders. It forced Norway to confront the reality of homegrown extremism. Norway, a country known for its peacefulness and tranquility, was suddenly faced with the dark undercurrents of extremism that had been simmering beneath the surface. The nation mourned together, with flags at half-mast and citizens coming together in solidarity. The attack left a permanent scar on the nation's psyche, a wound that would take years to heal. Memorials were held to honor the victims, and the psychological impact of the massacre would be felt for generations to come. On March 11, 2004, Madrid's morning rush hour was shattered by bombings. 10 bombs hidden in backpacks ripped through 4 crowded trains. The attacks killed 193 people and injured over 2,000. Initially blamed on ETA, it soon became clear the perpetrators were an Islamist terrorist cell. Spain, a vocal supporter of the US-led invasion of Iraq, was left reeling. The 11M attacks reminded us that terrorism was a global threat. Bastille Day, July 14, 2016, turned into horror in Nice. A terrorist drove a cargo truck into crowds celebrating on the Promenade des Anglais. The attack left 86 people dead and over 400 injured. The attacker drove the truck for over a mile, mowing down people indiscriminately. The Nice attack highlighted the vulnerability of open societies. France, still reeling from the Paris attacks, faced terrorism again. The attack cast a pall over the national holiday and led to increased security measures. The Boston Marathon, a cherished annual event, was scarred on April 15, 2013. 2 pressure cooker bombs exploded near the finish line. The blasts killed 3 people and injured over 260 others. The attack, carried out by the Tsarnaev brothers, sent shockwaves through the United States. It reminded us that even seemingly safe events could be vulnerable to terrorism. The bombing sparked a massive manhunt, bringing Boston to a standstill. The Boston Marathon bombings highlighted the ongoing threat of homegrown terrorism. On May 22, 2017, a pop concert in Manchester turned into terror. A suicide bomber detonated a homemade explosive device in the foyer of Manchester Arena. The attack targeted young concertgoers, killing 22 people and injuring hundreds. The Manchester Arena bombing was the deadliest terrorist attack in the UK since the 7/7 London bombings. It highlighted the vulnerability of public gatherings and the challenges of combating terrorism. The attack sparked a debate about security measures at public events. On December 2, 2015, San Bernardino was rocked by a mass shooting. Syed Rizwan Farouk and Tashfeen Malik stormed a holiday party, opening fire. The couple, who pledged allegiance to ISIS, killed 14 people and injured 22 others. The attack combined elements of a mass shooting and a terrorist attack. It reignited the debate over gun control and homegrown terrorism. The San Bernardino attack highlighted the evolving nature of terrorism. It left a legacy of grief, loss, and fear in the community. As we revisit these horrific events, it's important to remember the human stories of lives cut tragically short, of families forever shattered. Their pain is immeasurable, their strength an inspiration. Even in the darkest times, the human spirit endures. We've witnessed extraordinary acts of courage and resilience. Let us honor the victims by remembering their names and sharing their stories. Let their memory be a call to action to build a safer, more just, and peaceful world.